This is Dream Power Radio, the place where your dreams turn into reality. Here is your host, Debbie Spector-Weissman.
Hello, and welcome to Dream Power Radio. I'm your host, certified dream life coach, Debbie Spector-Weissman. This is the place where we talk about dreams, both daytime and nighttime dreams, and how you can use them to make the internal shift to a life you love and rediscover the truth of who you really are. Many, many years ago, long before I discovered dream work, I was a working writer. I wrote 5 young adult novels under my own name, and then I was hired as a ghostwriter. Over the next 4 years, I wrote 16 more books, 5 of them for what was then the most popular young adult series out there. Along the way, I developed ideas for my own series, but I couldn't make a sale. Then I spent a year writing a novel, and despite my best efforts, just couldn't find a taker. I felt defeated and tired and just plain burnt out. I didn't write again for another 25 years until I discovered dream work. But that's a story for another day and time. I wish I had someone back then like my guest today, Dr. Mary Sanders. Her mission is to help people overcome burnout and rediscover their authentic selves and bounce back physically, emotionally, and energetically. Dr. Mary is a medical intuitive, holding a master's in intuition medicine, as well as a doctorate in chiropractic and a certificate in positive psychology. And with that, welcome to Dream Power Radio, Dr. Mary.
No, thank you so very much, Debbie. I feel so honored and blessed to be with you and your listener. And quite honestly, just listening to your introduction about yourself, what a prolific writer you are.
Well, yes, I like to call that my first career, with this being now my third career. But yes, and I did really have total burnout in terms of writing. I could not write a word. And I used dream work, which helped reignite my writing passion. But like I said, that's a different story. We're here, though, to talk about the whole concept of burnout. So, Dr. Mary, tell me, you started out your professional career as a chiropractor. I believe that was your dream job. But I understand that you, too, suffered from burnout. So what happened?
Yeah, Debbie, my story is not unique, meaning that there are similar theories or similar themes such as you experienced. I started off, just like you said, as a chiropractor. Literally, I was 100% in alignment with my purpose at that time. And my purpose was to lay my hands on physical bodies for the purpose of healing. That's where I started out. And then what ended up happening, I became a businesswoman. I became the gatekeeper, if you will, of 2 busy, thriving practices and also governing over and watching over various different positions in the staff associated with it. So to make a long story short, my initial intention was to follow the alignment of my purpose and my passion, and I was very good at it. And over time, I lost my sight of what the intention was and then shifted into an area that I didn't feel 100% in alignment with. It was a necessity to run my businesses, to be a successful businesswoman. However, it cost me dearly. It cost me the balance. It cost me my physical vitality. It cost me my grounding, essentially, Debbie. I became very disgruntled, resentful, distrustful, and consequently, physiologically, my body began to start shutting down. My adrenal system no longer were operational. So I had maxed out all the adrenaline, epinephrine, norepinephrine, DHEA that I could possibly burn through my system. I physically did so, to the point where I was flatlined, meaning that I could go to work and I could go home. I was no longer afforded the luxury of my exercise routine or any other miscellaneous activities that brought me joy. So the burnout was, and again, I am very careful in my word selection because I do believe that we hold that resonance within our body when we start to talk about past trauma. And so that part of my life was necessary in order for me to realign and to reclaim all the pieces and moving parts of my essence that I wanted to bring back into my physical body so that I could realign once again and re-identify once again what is my purpose here on this earth.
Yeah, and I think that's probably what happens to a lot of people when they have burnout. They get into this situation of, what do I do? And I know a lot of people will then try to relieve that trauma by just escaping, either drugs or alcohol or running away or doing something that is really counterproductive to really what they need to do. What are some of the things that you could say to people like that to say maybe that's not the way to go when you have burnout?
Yeah. The first thing that I want to share with the listeners is that you're not alone. You may be feeling isolated, right, due to the various different phases of burnout. But trust me when I say, since COVID and the Great Resignation, there's so many people in today's world that are second guessing how they're choosing to spend their time. So first of all, you're not alone. And then I want to circle back, Debbie. What you brought up was the defense mechanisms of how we are dealing with the various different traumas or emotional dysregulation that happens within our autonomic nervous system. And unfortunately, we do gravitate. We have a tendency of wanting to escape, whether that be too much internet time, whether that be too much TV, too much food, too much sugar, too much alcohol, too many drugs. And you are correct in that that's just a symptomatology that no, you are no longer in alignment with self and that it's an opportunity to turn the reflection in. So my advice to listeners, if you are sitting at this opportunity, this Y in the road where you can turn right and follow your defenses and your escape mechanisms, or you can turn left into more healing opportunities, then I invite you to slow down, turn the reflection internally to connect with the self, to be able to identify what your deepest desires are. And then through that reflection, find the courage to take the necessary small steps to realign in your direction.
But what happens though, a lot of people will hear that and they'll say, that does sound great. That sounds like something that I need to do. But then they encounter resistance and they'll say, well, I'll deal with it tomorrow, or I'll do something else. I'm not ready to deal with it. How do you handle that resistance?
That's normal. That's absolutely normal. And so the invitation that I made earlier was to turn the reflection internally through meditation or some intentful activity, such as yoga, Tai Chi, breath work, Qigong, just to name a few. And with these mindful movement exercise coupled with breath, then you'll be able to, once again, I'm going to make reference to the autonomic nervous system. You're going to shift your neurological wiring away from being sympathetic dominance, that action-oriented go, go, go type neurology, and then shift it more into the parasympathetic of rest and digest. And I know it sounds counterintuitive, but having counseled many people through this transition and having lived through this transition, I can honestly say the more regularly that you step into the mindful movement associated with breath, there's something really beautiful and magical that happens in that you begin to fill yourself up from within your life force energy to fill your own container. Time and time again, that rejuvenation, that reclamation process does occur. And so ultimately, when you are up against the resistance, you will find that life force energy, that strength from deep within to be able to say, yes, I am up against the resistance and I am going to choose to do something different.
And you make a very valid point here that I think is also important to stress, which is the whole idea of taking an action. You know, when we discuss dream work, we always say a dream is only a nice idea unless you take action on it. And what you're saying is that if you're feeling this, don't just be there and lament where you are or complain or do something, but actually take those steps. And like you said, it doesn't have to be a giant thing, but just something small to get you started.
Yes, that's exactly what I'm saying. And Debbie, the Japanese have a beautiful word for taking those small sequential steps, and that's the Kaizen effect. So small choices will add up to a bigger energy system, if you will. And I have to share with you, as I was listening to you talking about, I know the personality of the people that are acceptably driven that lead themselves to burnout. And there is a big pregnant pause, Debbie, that happens because what ends up shifting as that this drive, this need for overachieving and this perfectionistic attitude then begins to soften into possibly the space of self-compassion. So when I talk about the small sequential steps, they're done without perfectionism. They're done with the intention of some continuity, of some consistency. It's not about saying, I'm now a meditator. I'm going to meditate, 20 minutes every day. And it's not about making that declaration. It's about, I'm going to sit and turn my awareness internally. And today I had 5 minutes. And then tomorrow I hope to have maybe 7 minutes, or maybe I have 5 minutes tomorrow, or I have 10 minutes. And that is from a place of self-compassion, right? Which is void in most of us that are in that perfectionistic overdrive. We get to soften into that. It's okay. It's okay to allow life to lead us forward, but with the intention of implementing these small kinds of steps.
Yeah. And that's so glad that you mentioned that self-compassion, because a lot of people who suffer from burnout and say they're what we would call the givers. They're either in like some kind of a helping profession, like a nurse or it's doing some kind of social thing, or they're kind of caregiver, either as a mother or as a literal caregiver for another person. And they give and they give and they give till there's nothing left. What kinds of things should they be doing to replenish themselves so that if they're feeling burnout, they can not get there before they feel to the point where I can't do this anymore?
Yeah, Debbie, this is such a brilliant question. And I'd like to offer up some tools and techniques to the listeners in response to your question. But first and foremost, I want to go back and talk about how you're identifying that you're right. Those people that are in the service industry, right? They are conditioned to be of service. And unfortunately, that means giving part of yourself away, or more often than not, Debbie, what I have experienced is that these are very empathetic people in the service industry, whether it be nursing, or whether it be being a caretaker for an elderly, or whether being in the healthcare industry, or even waiting tables, or being a cashier at one of the local grocery stores. We're conditioned to be empathetic, right? That's one of our strengths, being in the service industry. But what ends up happening energetically is that we subconsciously make this choice to carry the energy of the other person with the intention of lightening their load and the intention of making their life a little easier. We all do it. We say, oh, you're struggling in this area. Let me help you. Let me carry that burden. And what happens energetically, this has been my experience as a medical intuitive, that the person whose intentions were good end up absorbing the energy of the other people, and they carry that. Most specifically within the energy center associated with the second chakra, which is just located just below the belly button. So then what ends up happening, right? So you carry other people's energy within your own biofield that you can no longer discern whose energy belongs to whom and what is your energy to deal with. That is critical for understanding that somebody is embarking upon the phase of burnout. Now, with that in mind, I'd like to offer up a technique that I learned during the first module at the Academy of Intuition Medicine under the guidance of Dr. Francesca McCartney in Sausalito, California. This technique is so simple. I wish I would have been taught it the first week I was in chiropractic school. I think that it should be taught in all medical schools and in all nursing schools and for anybody wishing to be in the service industry. And that is essentially what is called a neutral separation, where at the end of the day, you simply, in a grounded and expanded state, sit in a place of neutrality and gift back all the energy that you have shared with these various different people. Now, you may be sitting there thinking, that's a lot of people. And it is. It is. And so you can group, like in my example, I have one bubble with all of the patients that I encountered that day. I have another bubble of all of those immediate family members, those dynamic relationships that I have every day. I have another bubble filled with them. I have another bubble of social acquaintances that I may have engaged with via email or via phone or text. And then another one of those people that I may have just had spontaneous interactions with at the grocery store or the gas station. And so I literally will sit in an expanded state and imagine outside of my auric field. So what that means is literally I would place the image in my mind of these bubbles outside of the dwelling upon which I sit. Your auric field traditionally only expands 3 feet away from the physical body, but in this exercise, I place the bubbles outside of my home or my office. And I will set the intention to gift back the energy that we shared. And so I imagine energy from the palms of my hand reaching out very much like a rainbow or a laser beam back to these individual bubbles. And I simply witness that these bubbles or these people absorb the energy and they begin to build themselves up, right? It's a gift. It's a gift. They're happy to receive it. And once they feel as though that process is complete, then I respectfully say, now it's time for me to receive back all the energy that I also shared. So then I intentionally feel the energy coming back into my auric field, my biofield. I choose to then drain the energy down and ground it out to Mother Earth for her to recharge, right? And to recycle for another sentient being. And then I neutrally separate. So I tie a bow or I sever that rainbow connection or that laser-like beam so that we then are two separate identifiable beings or groups. And I bring my awareness and I simply state three descriptive facts about myself that make me separate and identifiable from these groups of people. I can simply say, my name is Mary. I have on beige sandals today. I am going to have salmon for dinner tonight. And then what that does, it allows that energy for me to solidify my own personal container with strong boundaries and a sense of vitality within my own life force. So it's just the opposite of depletion.
That is amazing and something that I probably want to take up for myself as well. And I hope the audience understands that also. We are going to take a short break here. We are speaking all about burnout with Dr. Mary Sanders, and we'll be right back. I hope you're enjoying the powerful insights I bring you every week on Dream Power Radio. Now, there's a way to get more. Sign up to be a subscriber. You'll get sneak previews of upcoming shows, exclusive access to material not heard on the podcast, and special giveaways designed to uplift your dreaming life. Become a Dream Power Radio subscriber today. Sign up now by clicking on the Support the Show link in the show notes.
Welcome back to Dream Power Radio with your host, Debbie Spector-Weissman.
Yes, welcome back to Dream Power Radio. I'm your host, Debbie Spector-Weissman, and we're talking about burnout and energy with Dr. Mary Sanders. Well, Dr. Mary, you gave us that very, very powerful technique to replenish ourselves after a day where we've given and our energy is gone. You do a lot of work with energy and with the chakras. So I want to take a little bit of time to talk here about the chakras. why they're important, why we should pay attention to them?
Sure, I love this question because it's so open-ended. I could talk all day about the energy centers located within our physical body.
Make
But
it
I really, but I really feel like I want to break it down and essentially simplify it so that those that are not familiar with the chakra system can get a better understanding as to what their function is, what their primary reason is, right? So the chakra system is very much like traditional Chinese medicine, PCM. We know that there are meridians within the physical body, yet we cannot dissect the meridian out of the body. The same is true with the chakra system. Now, Debbie, when I'm referring to the physical body, I will be talking about the 7 lower energy centers most intimately connected with our physical body. Now, the chakra system looks very much like a funnel. It's Y-shaped with a wide mouth pointing away from the body and the narrow portion of the funnel connecting into the body with the vertical power current. Now, those listeners that are into yoga, this is also known as the Sushumna channel. Okay? So this goes from up and down vertically within the body. So each energy center is connected into this vertical power current. Each energy center has its own frequency, and with that frequency is a spin. And that spin is what will electromagnetically pull the energy through the auric field into the chakra system. And it assimilates this information, right? That's the primary function. Number 2, the secondary function is that you have an opportunity to express yourself through these energy centers as well. And each energy center is associated with a frequency, which I already talked about, which will then kind of connect it to various layers of consciousness. So since we're talking about burnout, let's take the very first energy center, this chakra, the first chakra, known as the root chakra. And that is located deep within the pelvic bowl. So we're talking about right over the pubic symphysis, right deep in the center of the body. It is the lowest of all of the energy, the main energy system, and it resonates very closely to the frequency of Mother Earth and the Schumann resonance at 7.83 hertz. So this energy center is most connected to the earth and is used for grounding. Now, as we connect and talk about the first energy center, you will notice that there is a corresponding endocrine gland, and an endocrine gland is a gland that's responsible for producing hormones. It has a nerve plexus, essentially a highway of nerves that connects the information of the endocrine gland into the central nervous system. Then it has life experiences and body parts that are associated with this one energy center. So let's talk about the first chakra, located deep within the pelvic bowl. It is most intimately connected to the adrenal system. You and I have already talked about the adrenal system, right? That's your fight or flight, get up and go hormone. And when we are experiencing a high-driven lifestyle, unfortunately, we chemically will max out the adrenaline production. So it compromises chemically and neurologically that energy center, right? So the nerve plexus associated with this gland comes out from the sacrum, which is the broad triangular bone at the base of the spine, and also the lumbar spine, the low back. The nerve intervention that controls your butt, your thighs, your knees, your ankles, your feet are all connected with those nerves. So anytime somebody has like plantar fasciitis, somebody who is having issues, ankle issues, feet issues, knee issues, there are also hemorrhoids and constipation. Those are all physical symptoms that would guide us back into the energy center of the first chakra, as well as burnout. The signs of adrenal fatigue nestled their way into that first energy center, and that center is most intimately connected to the physical body and to vitality. So if you're looking to overcome burnout, you can do the necessary nutraceuticals. You can do the lifestyle modifications. You can get more rest. You can begin more mindful movement through meditation, yoga, and things of that nature. You can also energetically set the intention to tonify that first energy center. And you do that through the mind's eye and through your creativity. Energy follows thought. So if you can direct your attention and your energy into tonifying that energy center into a functional, healthy homeostasis, then you will help support your physical body.
That is so important. And perhaps I'll have you back another time to talk about all the rest of the chakras, but we are getting toward the end of this discussion. I wanted to ask you quickly, do you ever use dream work either for yourself or in your practice?
You know, Debbie, I love to astrally travel every night. It's like one of my favorite and happy places. And so there are nights that I have like small dreams, and then there are some nights that I have big dreams, which are more significant to what's happening to me on the conscious level or subconscious level. So yes, I intimately do use and gather information. If you think about how many hours we are asleep versus being awake, I think that's a wonderful opportunity for gathering information.
Oh, that is so important. And when you have these big dreams, are you talking with people in your dreams or dream guides, anything like that?
You know, I have various different locales, and this may sound perhaps not so interesting to you, but when I know that I'm having a big dream is that there's always in some way, shape, or form a crystalline formation. And so I know that I'm at the locale in which I know I'm receiving spiritual guidance. So that's my aha, that's my trigger, that's my, when I wake up and I'm like, aha, that was a big dream. Now let's look at it a little bit closer.
It is so important. And you also advocate the importance of sleep in terms of helping to maintain ourselves and prevent burnout, right?
I absolutely do. I think sleep is the most precious commodity that we have.
Indeed. Well, Dr. Mary, how can people find out more about you and your work?
Oh, you know what? I'm available to be reached. Contact one-on-one. I have discovery call option. You can find my information on my website at www.drmarysanders.com. I also have a series of meditations, guided meditations that if you're interested in downloading them, and I do talk about neutral separations and grounding in those meditations. So if you're looking for more practical, less than 12 minutes, I highly encourage you go to the website, drmarysanders.com/meditation.
Oh, well, thank you. And thank you, Dr. Mary, for being on Dream Power Radio today.
Thank you. The pleasure has been mine. And thank you for being you. And I do appreciate you and the listeners.
Oh, thank you. We've been speaking about overcoming burnout with Dr. Mary Sanders. I hope you've enjoyed today's program. If so, please hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on any future episodes. Till next time, this is Debbie Spector-Weissman saying, sweet dreams, everybody.
You've been listening to Dream Power Radio with your host, Debbie Spector-Weissman. For more information on Debbie or to sign up for her newsletter, go to dreampowerradio.com. This has been Dream Power Radio.